Yeah, definitely it's not. Keep in mind, I streamed last, so your microphone input is probably invalid. You probably need to reset it in OBS.
How about now? Testing, testing. There it is. I hear it. I'm going to turn that off because that echo is annoying. Let's see. Annoying. Oh my gosh. How did you do that?
Magic. It's playing on my phone.
You
I did
perfectly timed it.
I was going to say, I did not capture your voice clip. Don't even worry.
Yet. Because this is
indeed. All right, folks. Let me just get to the right episode really quick because we have a lot of notes. Oh, my
keep
goodness.
Scrolling because welcome to Talk About Tatooine. I'm Andrew.
I'm Nathan.
And we're twin brothers here to bring you what's new in Nerdom and give colorful commentaries on our favorite subjects, today being Marvel. Welcome to our cantina. Grab a drink and settle in as we set course for realities beyond our own.
Welcome, everyone, to episode 56. Today's recording date is Thursday, January 11th, and this episode will be released on Monday, January 15th. Today, we're going to be discussing Marvel's newest TV show, Echo. But first, let's begin with our starter questions. Also, make sure to stick around to the end of the episode. We've got some Nerdom news coming your way. Andrew, hit us with that opening question.
Can you believe this is our 56th episode? We are closer to 100 than we are to 0.
I know, finally, right? Took us a while.
Yeah, releasing one podcast episode a week will do that to you.
Technically, we release like 0.95 podcasts a week if you look throughout the last year because we missed a couple. But that's because we're humans and we don't get paid to do this.
Does it still sound all right to you?
It sounds fantastic.
Cool.
Your voice is buttery smooth and covered in honey.
It's covered in pizza grease.
Ooh,
take that back.
You're fair. That's fair. Go ahead and hit us with that opening question.
I am a fair lady. What have you been watching recently? Not Echo.
Not Echo, other than Echo, because that's going to be our main discussion today, is I've actually been watching Percy Jackson. Now, this is a series I have not read. My wife has read it, and she loved it growing up. So I've been indulging this with her and have actually really been enjoying it. So, again, having never read the books, but having seen the TV show, or at least the first few episodes, this is kind of our go-to entertainment for the evenings, at least once per week, because unlike Echo, which we're going to talk about, Percy Jackson releases one episode per week, whereas Echo released the entire season all at once. So that's always super fun. I'm also rewatching Book of Boba Fett for the second time, and just finished today What If Season 2 for the first time through.
Are you watching Book of Boba Fett for Star Wars trivia, or because you want to watch it?
Because I want to watch it, but also because it is helping me on Star Wars trivia, and I've actually written some questions from that series that is going to help out Star Wars trivia.
Like a bantha.
He's precious.
Okay. I don't know if this is like a nerd rite of passage or not, but I've never actually seen Futurama in its entirety, or even close to its entirety. I've seen maybe an episode here or there. So I've decided to start watching from the beginning for something a little bit more fun and enjoyable, a little bit more lighthearted, because I'm also, in addition to watching Echo, which is a little bit more dark and gritty, I'm watching Terminalist, which is it's a show on Amazon. It's a series based off of a book series, and it is brutal. It's very dark, but it's a lot of fun. If you enjoyed John Wick, you would probably enjoy Terminalist.
Sorry, I was clicked on the wrong screen, and I was trying to be a good listener by having my mic muted when I'm not talking to prevent any feedback noises, aka my dogs whining at my office door. You probably hear them.
Like, you're talking about us.
I can hear you.
My dog's
literally whining on the other side, and then it wasn't letting me click the mute button, so failed there. Our second opening question is, what games have you been playing recently, Andrew? It's been a hot minute since we've recorded a podcast, so let me know. Fill me into what you've been playing.
That's true. I've been getting back into Gears 5, so we're putting out some Gears 5 shorts gameplay out on our different socials. Catch us there on pretty much any social media platform, except for MySpace. We're not on MySpace. Sorry, guys. But I'm also playing Jedi Survivor. I picked it up 50% off because I wanted to play it. I didn't want it to get dirt cheap, and I just wanted to play a new game.
That's a good deal.
Nathan, you and I are actually cooking up a seriously cool Gears 5 Horde challenge that will hopefully be streaming here on Twitch. So if you want to watch us do stupid things on a stupid hard difficulty, go ahead and give us a follow. We'd appreciate that.
Basically, if you want to see me swear on camera a lot, you guys can catch us playing Gears 5 on Twitch. My mother would be so upset.
We started as a PG stream. It's like, oh, there's his one F word. It's a PG-13 stream. It's like, oh, now it's a rated R because he just died.
That all happens within the span of like 1.3 seconds. So, yeah. I really tank the ratings when I play. I'm so sorry.
In addition to that, we hope to stream the Star Wars Dark Forces remaster here on Twitch as well. So we're really excited about that.
Yes, please. I've been working on some pretty extensive builds in our Minecraft world. So recently, we just finished, heavy quotations on finished, our Christmas build on Minecraft, our holiday build. We did not finish. We went too big, too quick, and didn't know. Similar to John Mulaney's skit about writing "Happy Birthday" on a poster board that is too large, we went really big with a big ass H and a big ass A, and then we had to put the P and then the little P inside the other P, and it just didn't work. Yeah. So that's essentially what happened with our holiday build. We went too big, too quick, and so now I'm going to be working on some bigger projects over a longer amount of time. Can you hear my dog, by the way? I know this is live, and I'm not going to be able to edit this out. But just hold on for just a second.
Theo, shut the heck up!
He sounds like he's dying, so give me a second.
We're taking a quick dog break, everyone. I'm practicing my NPR voice. This is Thought for Your Thoughts on NPR, Seattle Public Radio.
I go out to yell at them in the hallway, and he's just sitting there like, I think I messed up. Yeah, dummy. Okay. What was I saying? I've been playing Minecraft. So I'm actually working on a multi-month project that we're going to be streaming a little bit. I started streaming it a little bit yesterday, but I was dragging yesterday. I couldn't keep focus. There wasn't a big audience. And so I was like, hey, I got to cut it short. That was a really, really big bummer. I didn't like doing that, but I have a lot of plans for that, and I've been writing them all out. And it's going to be kind of a cool, kind of like elevated, but also sunken city vibe. It's going to be a pretty good time. So make sure you guys check us out on Twitch.
So I did watch a little bit of your replay, and I was like, ooh, that sounds really fun. It's actually, what you're doing is an idea I've wanted to do for a really long time. Total side note. I know we're trying to like stay on message here. Can you tell what this bottle is?
That's Poopery.
Yeah. Toilet spray. Not sponsored.
If you hadn't said anything, I would have noticed. Ooh, I love your Talk About Tatooine sign.
That was my Christmas present from my wife.
Yeah, buddy.
I need to like wire it up with some special, I should say, bespoke LEDs that came with it. They're cut to fit and stuff like that. Thomas, where are you going? Hey.
This is the great part about being live, everybody, is usually you guys don't get to see this on the podcast because I edit out all these extra bits when the dogs are interrupting. But we're live, so if you hear it on Twitch, you might as well hear it on YouTube and Spotify too. So welcome to our chaos. We're super happy you guys are all here.
Between the two of us, we have 0 kids and 4 dogs.
It's not a problem. It's called being a dink. Dual income, no kids.
Dinks.
I don't like the term dink. It sounds just
bad.
A little bit dirty, and I don't like it. It's not dirty, but it kind of like it is, but it's not.
It's like the word cuck. I hate that word.
That is a dirty word, though. That is a sexual connotation to it.
But like it wouldn't get bleeped. You know what I'm saying? Like it wouldn't get bleeped. It would just be it's a naughty word, but it's disgusting. I hate saying it. I'm not gonna say it again, actually.
I can't believe you put it on. I can't believe you said it in the podcast once. I might actually have to do some editing now and put a bleep in our podcast.
No, keep it in. Keep it in.
Hobby work. Keep it in. You got
Nathan.
It. All right, hit us with our third one so we can get into our thinking of the patrons, and then into some more stuff as well.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so kind of the third, like our little triumvirate of content that we like to cover. We like to cover TV and movies. We count that as one. Screen stuff, video games, hobby work. Nathan, what hobby work have you gotten done lately?
So you can actually see behind me here. So if you guys are watching on Twitch right now, if you guys are Warhammer fans, say hi in the chat. But I actually have these all kind of out. So right here are all models. I'm so sorry to my Spotify listeners. All of these are models that need basing. So I'm basically putting some texture paint down on them. And actually right where my finger is some Vallejo, I think, earth texture. And then the ones that have basing on them are over here. So it's a pretty good time. Space Marines. No, I don't have Space Marines. These are orcs, you dork.
I'm a Space Marine
dorks. So I have all that, and I got a bunch of new metallics, and we're doing a painting weekend this weekend. So I might actually finish some models, which is why I'm trying to get some of these based, because I don't really want to bring my jar of mud with me to base my models. So that's what I've been doing.
Oh, man. The phrase jar of mud is not a weird one to people who work on minis. I have literal jars of sand. It's weird. It's weird. I don't know if you can tell, but this, let's see, that model right there is a, what's it called? A Raven Wing aircraft that my dog knocked off the shelf, and it split in half. So I have to do some repair on that one. Other than that, I literally have not got any painting done since the last time we played Warhammer. I've actually been alone all of this last week while my wife is off doing her master's residency. Let's say Finley the dog gaming. For context, Nathan plays orcs and Andrew plays Dark Angels. And we actually have our names on the bottom of the screen. So shout out to the people who couldn't tell us apart before. Now you can. We have name tags. I haven't gotten anything done. With a lot of the 737 MAX flights getting canceled out of Alaska Air because a door ripped off the fuselage.
That's bad.
So that plane was headed to Portland to Ontario, California. We're not going to get into why California has a city called Ontario and how mad that makes me.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate that.
And on that flight, the door ripped off the airplane mid-flight, and they had to go. I think they had to go back to Portland. Everyone was fine. There was nobody injured, but it was a serious failure of the aircraft. My wife's flight is from Seattle to Ontario on the same type of airplane.
Ontario, Canada, or California?
California.
That's a very large coincidence.
Yeah, I read it and I was like, it was a little scary for me. But anyway, she is going to get home safe, albeit much later than she expected.
Safe, but probably thoroughly annoyed.
Safe, but annoyed, which is honestly, where we want to be as far as aircraft safety. That is literally my whole job, is aircraft quality and safety. So
it's kind of important. It gets people to and from different places.
Preferably alive. Preferably.
With that, we are going to go into kind of our main discussion here. So we do want to offer a spoiler warning. So we are talking about Echo, Season 1, Episode 1 and 2. It's actually in the title of our Twitch stream right here, but we're going to give you guys an additional spoiler warning because it's going to be in the title here. It's going to be in the YouTube title. I mean, I don't know what else to tell you guys. We're talking about Echo. You should have known this by now. Hopefully you can read. But if for some reason you can't read, we still love you. And we're talking about Echo. So if you don't want it spoiled for you, please hit that eject button right now. But before we get into that main discussion, thank you, Mike. Thank you, Isaac. You guys are our top patrons right now. We love you guys so much. Thank you for our support. So we're actually going to be doing a book club with our patrons this month. So we're super excited about that. Hopefully that's still going through. The weather's been a little bit crazy these last couple of days. So we're still trying to figure out scheduling for being different places and actually meeting in person. But thank you guys for supporting us. We appreciate it so much. For those of you who are listening for just $5 a month, you can support us here at Talk About Tatooine so we can do more things like giveaways. game servers, higher quality content. Personally, I would love to do some whiskey reviews for our patrons, and whiskey costs money, so support us so
Yeah.
I can drink whiskey and tell you what to drink. But on a more serious note, we actually do thank you guys so much from the bottom of our hearts. And with that, let's get right into the show. So, Andrew is going to hit us with basically a summary of what's going on so far, and then we're going to get into our classic step by step reviews that we know and love on the podcast. So, Andrew, go ahead and hit us, please.
All right. Maya, who is the main character, Maya Lopez, who's the main character of Echo, that's her superhero name. She's not a new character, but her story, I think, is one that will take Marvel fans in a new direction, both thematically and emotionally. Episode 1 covers her motive, the source of her rage, when she loses her leg and her mother because of a cut brake line, moving and growing up in NYC under the eye of Kingpin, and then eventually seeing her father killed by Ronin. During the event of Hawkeye, we learned that Fisk, i.e. Kingpin, is actually the one who ordered her father's death for reasons that aren't super clear at the moment. We quickly learn that the bullet that ended Wilson Fisk and concluded the first season of Hawkeye did not actually kill the Kingpin. Rather, he loses his eye and we see him recovering in the hospital. Meanwhile, Maya's rage is not satisfied and she travels back to Oklahoma to enact her revenge on Fisk's entire criminal network and potentially become the new queen of her own criminal empire.
It is a pretty wild ride so far. We are going to be getting right into our review here, guys. We're going to be starting with a rating of 1 out of 10, 1 being garbage, 10 being absolutely amazing, awesome sauce. Andrew, go ahead and give us your rating of 1 out of 10 for episodes 1 and 2, please.
I would give both episodes a 7. I thought the pacing was a little slow. That was definitely kind of what I came away with. The action was awesome, don't get me wrong, but it was a little slow. Hopefully, I feel like that's because it's more of a slow burn than anything else. This isn't super ideal, though, because there's only 5 episodes in this season. It's a mini series and not a true season. That is something I wish Disney would do a little bit better of communicating, or Marvel in this case, is which one of their series is like, hey, this is going to be something that you're going to see multiple seasons of. Oh, and this one was considered a Marvel Spotlight. So it sounds like we're not going to get an Echo season 2. I don't really know.
So this treats more like a long movie rather than a extended series, correct?
Correct. Similar to Secret Invasion. We're not going to get a Secret Invasion season 2. Thank the Lord, because it was garbage. Again, if you really like Secret Invasion, I'm not saying you're garbage. I'm just saying the show's garbage.
Hey, to all of our fans and listeners who are easily pleased, I got your back. Don't even worry.
Nathan, you're just like, I like everything. Everything's nice.
I do, though. I like stories. I like things being told to me.
I like the part where all the guys got killed. Oh, now I lost my place. Okay, this is going to be, like I said, this is going to be a slow burn. This isn't super ideal because it's only 5 episodes. At this point in time, I have not watched episode 3 through 5. I really, really wanted to. But I'm thinking there will be just enough story to incorporate Echo into the larger MCU timeline, and I think that's it. It's hard to tell where Marvel is heading right now with the removal of Jonathan Majors as Kang the Conqueror. So as far as large implications of the Marvel Universe, honestly, I have no idea what's going on. However, so far, Alaqua Cox has been more entertaining and gripping than Kang, probably by an order of magnitude.
I like it. So I have some similar kind of guffs that you do. So being this is such a short season, and actually I didn't realize it was a spotlight season, so I was like, oh, they'll come back for a second season. So now knowing that does influence my opinion a little bit, but I'm not enjoying the pacing so far. I do think it's too slow. I think there's too much worrying on screen about where Maya is out. There's too many instances of people being like, oh, Maya's back in town. And I would have rather people like have been sprung to action rather than being like spending so much screen time of like people finding out, if that makes sense. I also didn't watch Hawkeye, so I'm kind of piecing some things together of what was happening. Like I was watching kind of the throwback, and I was like, Wilson Fisk is dead because he gets shot in the face, and then it's obvious by the end of the first episode that he's not dead. And so I was
Yeah.
like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. What is going on? So again, having not watched Hawkeye, I thought this was like pretty cool so far. But I did think that was going to be a big deal. I was like, Fisk dying is a big deal. He is, I mean, he's Kingpin. He's a huge, huge villain in the Marvel universe. And I believe his main superhero nemesis is Spider-Man, I think. But he fights
Sort
a
of.
lot of different people.
He does. He
I
fights a
should
lot
say
of
that that is based on my knowledge from the first uh, Into the Spider-Verse movie, where Kingpin makes a showdown or shows off versus Miles Morales Spider-Man.
Yep.
So that's what I'm basing that off of. I have not read the comics, so
He also is the main bad guy in the Netflix Daredevil series, which is now on Netflix.
oh, gotcha.
FYI, that is the bar of fight choreography that I base all of my Marvel movies off of. Is
Man, I haven't
that
watched
series.
Daredevil in a long time, so I might have to go rewatch that.
It's so
Overall,
good.
I bet. Overall, I would give these episodes a 7 out of 10 so far, and
Yep.
it's really because of pacing. It's not because of content. I just want more. That's really what I'm going into this with. Also, kind of a personal note: me and you both took multiple years of ASL, so I don't know about you. I'm not a proficient signer by any means. Like it takes me a hot minute to spell out my own name, but I do understand and recognize many of the concepts. And one thing that I actually really, really liked is that they gave name signs to characters. So if you guys don't know this, I didn't write this down in my notes. I probably should have. So I'll try not to mumble through this. But name signs are given by deaf people to hearing people and others. You don't, like as a hearing person, you do not assign yourself a name sign. That is uncouth to do.
Yeah.
A deaf person that you know from the community needs to assign you a name sign. And so, for example, Bonnie's name sign was a B by her mouth. I can't remember exactly because I didn't rewatch it. I don't know if it was a B back and forth. This is the B shape, by the way, in hints in ASL. And it was next to the face. And I was wondering if that was because, hey, her name's Bonnie and she's her speaking friend. So I don't know why the B is right here. The face has a lot of implications in ASL. It's literally like half of your language happens right here based on what's happening on your face. So there could be a lot of different meanings. So I'm interested to hear more about that. And I saw that Kingpin's name sign was also there as well. And it's a K, which is basically the pointer finger up with index or middle finger out, thumb in between. And then the P is just rotated 90 degrees. And so Kingpin is this. So anytime she's signing for Fisk, she's signing Kingpin, KP, which I thought was really interesting. So that means at some point, that somebody gave him a name sign. I was kind of hoping, so for example, you'll see this a lot, which is a K across the palm. That's kill in sign language, and they sign that a lot. And I was wondering if they were going to incorporate that into his name sign. It's just KP, which is totally fine. It's
a lot
very
of the
simple.
name signs are pretty simple.
Yeah, very simple, nothing too obscure, but I did like those details. I thought those were really cool, and kind of like understanding that part, like very, very little of deaf culture. I'm really enjoying this so far. So
Yeah, we're speaking with the authority of people who have taken 2 years of a high school language. So keep that in
was
mind.
over 10 years ago. So
Oh, shut up. No. Oh, gosh.
I've ruined his whole night, folks. Yes.
All right, hit us with some of your favorite moments before I spiral too much farther.
Episode 1 didn't talk to me too much. It was mostly just world building. It was setting up the story, and that's totally fine. I like that, but it's not like the most thrilling things in the world.
Yeah.
However, when in episode 2, when the movers are transporting all that cargo and they get that box of RPGs into the warehouse and they finally opened it, I don't know what this says about my personality, but I smiled when that bomb went off. I was like, that is so cool, because even, is it Biscuit? What an unfortunate nickname, by the way.
Dude, he
maybe
owns it.
that's cool, maybe it's not. But Biscuit, he's like, what did you do? Like, why did I just chase you down? He's like, I'm all worried about what I just did to grandma's truck trying to get you off that train. And he's like mad at her because he's like, you didn't even steal anything. What's wrong with you? And she's
I
like,
know.
doesn't matter. And just blew that up. One thing I'm really
Whatever.
liking about this series so far, and it's not necessarily that was my favorite event that happened, but my favorite creative choice that they've been using as well is because they're having a deaf main character. The director has also made the decision to not voice her thoughts, right? Because correct me if I'm wrong, the actress is also deaf, correct?
Yes. Hmm.
Yes. So she does not speak. Uh, and when deaf people speak, it's usually not the language that you and me are hearing. It's much different because they can't hear themselves. It's so different. And so I like that the director didn't choose to have someone else voice over her thoughts. I thought that was a very good decision. And it also means that we don't know what she's going to do. So, like this entire series, she's a wild card. I
Yeah.
don't know anything about Echo. You don't get an introspection to her thoughts. You only get what she decides to say to the camera and what the creative producers say. And I'm really liking that so far. So I'm really enjoying that. I'd love to hear more feedback from the community on that as well. So Andrew, give us what was your favorite part?
I thought it started really strong, even though it was a relatively slow start, showing kind of that devastating car crash and I guess the effects of Maya's dad's career choice that had on his family, and even the grandmother is like, "I told my daughter not to marry you," just to his face, and like I was like, "Oh, this is some brutal family drama." I was like, "This is intense. This is crazy." Like, um, it just they did a really good job establishing kind of the rage in Maya, kind of what I was saying earlier. And I think that's going to be one of the key themes we're going to see through 3, 4, and 5 is her uh, what that rage does to her. Additionally, Vincent D'Onofrio as Kingpin. So when he came back in Hawkeye, I squealed because I was such a huge fan of him in Daredevil. I was like, "Oh, this is so great." He is he is vicious in Daredevil. It like the second episode of Daredevil season 1, he kills someone with a car door. He puts their head in the car door and repeatedly just smashes it and just goes hog wild on him. And like he's such this terrifying guy because he loves his family so much, but he's a ruthless criminal at the same time. Like he would never hurt his family, but everyone else he will screw you up. Finally, as per usual, the fight choreography has been stellar. Nearly the same level as we saw in the original Daredevil, added with the superior sound design going from near complete silence to Maya's perspective to the thudding of that heavy bass music is awesome. It's just like this audio roller coaster, and I'm totally here for it. One thing we learned when we were in ASL is someone asked the question to our instructor, well, do deaf people listen to music? And he goes, "Oh, deaf people love music. They love loud music because they don't hear it, they feel it." So, like, it's not super uncommon for like deaf people to just be blaring music. And that's how we see Maya the very first time. She's like reclining kind of in the tracksuit mafia hangout with all these speakers around her, and she's just like bathing in this aura of rage and bass. And I'm like, that's so cool. That's so cool. One super dorky ASL thing that I want to point out. When she reunites with Biscuits, she Biscuits doesn't use the proper sign for the word understand. Typically, the word for understand, sorry for our audio listeners, is where you take your hand next to your head, like your brain, and you kind of flick your pointer finger straight up. It's like a light bulb going on. This is the sign for understand. Biscuits, what he does is he takes the word for stand, which is you have your open palm and you put like your other hand, 2 fingers standing on it. So it's like a little person. This is stand. And he took this sign and he did this. He literally signed understand. And I thought that was the funniest thing. I was like, I don't know. Like, it has been, I have not actually had a sign language conversation with somebody in over 10 years. I basically don't know the language anymore. But I saw that and I was like, what? That's really funny.
You're like, that's a little literal there, buddy.
I was like, if that was a joke, I thought it was really funny. Or it's like sign language slang, and in that case, I just don't understand it. Very much like current slang, where they're like, hit him with that Riz, and I'm like, what the heck are you talking about? I know Riz stands for charisma. Jeez.
Boo.
Anyway.
All right, moving on to our next session before Andrew gets us too distracted by not knowing anything about current slang. Andrew, what do you think is going to happen in the next episode? Give us your theories.
Okay.
It's just a theory.
A field theory.
Stop it. We're going to talk about it later. Don't worry.
Okay, I'm fine. Okay, here's the thing. These episodes are all out, so we'll be watching them very soon. What I want you and I to do is let's give our theories of how we think the show will finish. So kind of a short-term theory, and then how Echo will fit into the MCU. And to our listeners, we want all of you guys to say in the comments whether we are hot or cold with our short-term guesses. If we are, guessing like, I think this is going to happen to Maya, just put in the comments being like, you are colder than Jotunheim or something. You guys are way more clever than I am. Hot or cold in the comments. Let us know how we did.
Hotter than Surtur's ballsack. Nope, too far?
No, not far enough. Cool. Echo is actually Mephisto? I'm kidding. That's like a total running joke since like WandaVision. Is like, is that Mephisto? The little butterfly meme. Is this Mephisto?
Okay. What are you? I've not seen that meme, so I'm like, you're on a totally different wavelength than me right now.
I will share it later.
This guy, from my perspective, sorry, if I'm looking on Twitch, I should be pointing this way. This guy over here, he's insane.
Okay.
Everything's weird. So sorry for our audio listeners. I'm going to keep it in there, though. So
having fun with the cameras. Ooh, I just watched our viewer count go down.
And they're leaving. They're like,
these guys are so freaking dumb.
Please continue before we lose them all.
Okay, so I don't think Echo is going to be redeemed. I think she is not going to be a hero whatsoever. I think her rage is really going to take her over the cliff, proverbially, maybe physically. I think only bad things are going to happen to her from here on out. I don't think she will actually end up killing Fisk. I think she's way over her head and that she's going to have to go into hiding. I think she's going to get the absolute crap beaten out of her. I think Fisk is going to meet her in Oklahoma, kick the living tar out of her, but then show her mercy and let her live. And then she's going to have to go into hiding.
For sure.
From there, I believe that she'll be recruited by either Valentina Allegra Desfontaine, what a name, or Yelena Belova into the Thunderbolts. Box where it shouldn't have been. In the short term, what I don't want to see is Echo get into some sort of impossible situation, and at the last possible second, her ancestral powers activate and she's able to save herself. Honestly, if we get another shit show like Secret Invasion, I'm not going to be happy, because that's essentially what happened. Is I don't even remember her name. The Skrull lady was like, "Oh, I have superpowers now," and then kills the other guy, and it was not good. I didn't like it. I'm really happy that Echo has these like ancestral powers. I think her story about her Choctaw upbringing is very inspirational and amazing, but I also don't want it to be like, what is it, a Deus Ex Machina, where it's like, oh, this is just a key that solves all her problems. Like that's the formula we're already used to. What did you just drop?
A pen.
Okay.
Thought it was muted too. Didn't work.
That's the kind of formula we're already used to. I really don't want to see that again. To be totally honest, I'm really losing my steam with Marvel. I'm really having a hard time being excited about Marvel stuff lately. The Marvels movie, I never saw. I haven't seen it yet. I'm waiting until it comes out on Disney Plus. So,
I haven't seen it either.
Yeah.
You've got one more little bullet point at the end before I go into mine, and I'm really excited for you to share this. Unless you think it's not applicable.
It's not applicable.
Fun fact I love doing these live here, guys, because you guys get to peek behind the curtain a little bit. Is when we record these, we do a decently large amount of planning for these episodes.
Yeah.
And sometimes as we're talking, we add and subtract things on the fly, totally on the fly.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'll be sitting over here and I'm like, hey, Andrew, make sure you say that thing that you wrote down. And you're like, I don't think it's applicable anymore. And then I cut it all out. And I'm like, now you guys get to peer behind that curtain a little bit, just because we're doing this live. And I think it's exciting for people to see that, because especially for us who were up and coming podcasters, I mean, we've been doing this for over a year now. For those who have been doing this for their careers, they're probably like, oh yeah, stuff gets cut out all the time, and they are going to sympathize with, hey, we started with, let's say, an hour of footage and then we shrank it down to 40 minutes. You're like, where's that 20 minutes go?
Yeah.
And it's a lot of just like random things. And sometimes it's stuff like that. Anyways, I'll stay on topic here. I just want to let you guys know. I think we're going to see a large amount of retribution from our friend here, Echo. I think she has poked the proverbial hornet's nest and she's going to get stung. But I think that the concern for her family, where they were saying, hey, we don't want the war to come here, it already has. Mm-hmm. It has already followed her home. And I'm excited to see how that plays out. I'm excited to see her powers manifest more. So I don't necessarily want her powers to be a Chekhov's gun where she like pulls it out of the last scene and is like, bam, I'm able to like superhuman strength my way out of a situation. I want her to hone her powers ideally and potentially see more of, how she does what she does. She does have superpowers, and some of that is unexplained. And just we see, especially in the comic books, we see her with like a white hand war paint as well, and I want them to get into that. That's really cool. Native Americans have a lot of like really cool history behind using war paint, so I would like them to go into that lore. So I'd be super excited about that. Which, speaking of which, we are actually into our lore section right now. I'm actually just going to dive right in, if you don't mind, Andrew.
Yeah, please do.
So in the comics, Maya has a very similar origin. She goes through a ton of trauma, so much trauma. Is still basically fostered by Fisk, so they have a very close relationship. However, in the comics, she's eventually sent on a quest to find her soul after visiting Fisk in jail. And Fisk basically says, hey, like, I still love you. Like, he's like, I get why you shot me. Like, that makes sense. That's me summarizing a lot of comic books. So if you guys are a comic book fan and you want to like blow me up in the comments, please do. But she eventually actually meets up with Wolverine, who helps Maya process her trauma and actually teaches her quite a bit about like the Japanese like crime world and all these different things. And so she just learns a lot. And I think that'd be really cool, because one thing you had mentioned earlier is that you're like, hey, I'm kind of getting done with the MCU. And a lot of people have. This is a very common theme we're seeing across YouTube and other creators, are people are getting upset with like how the MCU is kind of like stagnating. Once Thanos did his last snap, everyone was like, okay, like it could have ended right there and it would have worked.
Yeah.
Would have worked. I think people would have been overall very satisfied and it wouldn't have been a bad thing.
Mm-hmm.
However, they kept going. So
for better
things
or for worse.
For better or for worse. So a lot of things need to be happening. However, with Echo's relationship with Wolverine in the comics, that could potentially be a tie over from the generic MCU into the X-Men universe as well, because they technically exist in the same universe, technically, but not.
Yeah.
Like they're on different Earths Like that can be kind of implied right now. But I think the eventual goal is for them to all exist on the same Earth, same timeline. So that could be really cool. And it could be a really good revival for Marvel to get all those characters together. I did want to mention some of her powers, her actual superpowers, before I hand this off to you, Andrew. Is her powers include the power of flight, speed, strength, telepathy, and cosmic fire generation. That's just what the Wikipedia said. I don't know what cosmic fire generation is. So
hopefully we get to see.
Yeah, hopefully.
So a lot of the lore that I'm going to be talking about Echo is more of what we actually see in the show. First off, I think it's really important that we give a spotlight to Alaqua Cox. As a native deaf actress, she is bringing a level of excellence and representation to these groups that aren't as often seen in cinema and television. According to her interview in the making of Hawkeye, she hadn't even been in front of a camera before the filming of that show. And honestly, you can't tell. Sign language is such an expressive language that I think that really propels her to be an amazing actor. Because when you use your face and your facial expressions, you're actually affecting the meaning and your overall sentence structure. And I think that really adds to her dynamic performance. Also, she has a slight resemblance to Stephanie Beatrice's character, Rosa Diaz, which totally adds to her intimidation. I keep getting the Rosa vibes, and I like,
we do like Rosa vibes here. Absolutely.
Rosa. From a lore perspective, this is, I guess, MCU lore, not comic lore. Echo has a really interesting power set. She has photographic reflexes, which means she can watch and learn other people's fighting style and copy it. That's actually one of the things they allude to when she's in the dojo as a child. Is I think Fisk tells her to just like make sure and watch, and she's very, very good at it. She's very similar to Taskmaster in that regard. In episode 2, we even see the mark of Chafa on her hands, giving her the ability to free her leg from the train linkage. That scene made me audibly yip, because I thought it was her biological leg and not her mechanical leg that got caught.
This does leave her open for some pretty cool improvements, though, because she's got her friend in the shop working on building her a new leg. So
I think that's her grandpa.
Really cool stuff. I think so. I'm having a little bit of a hard time tracking the characters on like who's who currently, but I'll probably watch through it again and get all my characters straight. Moving into our next part here, guys. Actually, our last part of the episode review before we get to our news to the HoloNet and then basically wrap up this episode is we're going to talk about our least favorite parts. Andrew, go ahead and hit us with yours.
I don't think I had a lot of criticisms per se. Like we said at the very beginning, the pacing is slower than I would like. If this was, and I mean, here's the thing: they don't make and by they I just mean Hollywood in general. They don't make 22 episode seasons of anything anymore. They just don't. And Marvel is not known for being able to produce shows on the cheap, because people are expecting a certain level of visual effects that costs them millions in post-production. They are, as far as production costs, Marvel is like a beached whale carcass.
There's a lot left. Lot left in the not a lot left in the coffers. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm just like it. It makes for good TV, but when they're not pairing it with good writing, and I'm not saying Echo has bad writing. I'm more talking about Secret Invasion was not good in my opinion. Hawkeye was pretty boring. Falcon and the Winter Soldier was not very good in my opinion.
I would agree, minus the fact that I haven't ever watched Hawkeye, but I understand the criticisms with the rest of those for sure.
Overall, like I said, to be in the section where we're talking about our criticisms, to not give a criticism, I think the story is really well thought out so far, and it's really gripping, and the action is some of the best we've ever seen.
I think for me so far, really my only issue is the pacing. But the content of these first 2 episodes has been really interesting. I want more to be happening, because it's 5 episodes, which is going to probably end up into like a 3. It's going to be close to like a 3-4 hour movie, somewhere around there. Like once you take out credits and stuff. Yeah.
I will say, if anything bad happens to Biscuits or Billy Jack, I will riot.
That's fair. Biscuit seems like kind of like an adorable goof,
Yeah.
like an adorable goofball. So I'm here for it. Um, Plus, dogs are my favorite thing in the world. So
I like dogs more than most people.
unless you're watching this podcast, and then we love you so much. All right. With that here, guys, we're actually going to get into the news from the HoloNet. We only have a couple of bullet points to go over here. I'm going to hit us with our first one. This is kind of a big one. If you guys haven't heard this already, MatPat is leaving YouTube. If for some reason you don't know who MatPat is, that is okay. MatPat is the original creator of 4 different channels now: Style, Game, Food, and Film Theory. All 4 different channels, 4 different subjects. So when you heard us reference, it's just a theory, a film theory. That's like what we were referencing earlier. This guy's made over 1,000 videos, like on even just like singular channels.
Mhm.
So many. And frankly, I think he needs this. It sounds like he's making a really good choice for him and his family. I'm going to be bummed that I'm not going to hear his voice because I play those episodes like podcasts. So I'm going to be sad that we're not getting content from him, but it sounds like he's raised a pretty good staff. I am curious to see what he's going to do next, but hopefully he's got something lined up. But I mean, personally, I'm going to speak for both of us here and just say from Talk About Tatooine, we really appreciate the work that MatPat and Stephanie have put into those channels.
For sure. I will add just a little bit more detail to that. He's actually moving into more of a director role. So he's moving into a behind the scenes role. So he's passing off the hosting role to different members of his team. In this new roles, it sounds like he's going to be doing some significant restructuring of the channel, which will involve him not being in front of the camera. Which, when you've listened to someone, it is sort of like a parasocial relationship. Like, I get that, but like, you have certain channels that are kind of like comfort channels. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're like, I want to like you. It's the reason I have Bob's Burgers on a loop. Basically, is like I know if I watch this, I'm gonna enjoy it, and that's exactly how I feel about pretty much everything MatPat has put out. Even the Style Theorist channel
has been remarkably good,
remarkably interesting for myself as a man who does not have any fashion sense. I love it. I'm like, this is really interesting.
I basically wear black. I'm wearing a black t-shirt, black shorts, black watch, dark gray ring, black Stanley. Like, everything I wear is dark, so I get it.
You can't go wrong with that. Well, I'm wearing a gray heather Henley long sleeve with my little green vest.
Oh, so you're way more fashionable than I am right now.
Only today. Yesterday I was wearing a t-shirt. What else? On Christmas, this is Warhammer news. In Christmas, Merry Christmas.
You're getting distracted, bud.
I'm sorry. Warhammer released a Dark Angels box, which was literally just a box of like 20 Terminators, which, first off, pisses me off just a little bit because I had been hunting around eBay for tons and tons of Terminators, and I think I have, it's either 20 or 25 Terminators. It's a lot of them. It's a ton.
So many.
In this box is also included is the new Belial, who is the like first company captain. He's like the Deathwing Grand Master or whatever, which is the company of Terminators. We don't know what his data sheet's going to look like, which is why I was hesitant. Well, one, I didn't want another 20 Terminators to paint, because the paint scheme I picked is kind of complicated. It's not super easy. I'm not sure what. Well, I picked it because it's pretty, but I was like, man, I can't justify buying 20 other Terminators just to get the Belial model. That's really the only one I want out of that box. But the Dark Angel Codex is coming out hopefully in the next couple of months. So it's going to be a huge, huge win for us, or for me, to see what their new codex is.
100%. I think the only last piece of news I have to share with the fam is in February, we have some closed beta news for Stormgate. You're part of the closed beta, correct?
I backed the Kickstarter on behalf of Talk About Tatooine. Therefore, I will automatically be included in the closed beta that's coming out in the summer.
Oh, rats. Not the one in February?
I believe that is another stage. That might be, that's either part of the closed alpha or it's a section of closed beta. If I have access to that, I'm not 100% sure. I didn't choose the lowest tier for their Kickstarter, but I certainly did not choose the highest tier either.
That's fair. Darn, I was kind of hoping we were going to get some Stormgate footage in like a month. So,
oh, gosh, that'd be so cool.
Yes, it would.
Let's just say this podcast does not run in the black. So I didn't want to be like, I spent another $200 kickstarting something when we're only pulling in like a couple bucks a month from different sources. We hope that gets better. Best thing you guys can do, just hit that like button. That's all we want.
Absolutely. Follow us on Twitch. We're trying to affiliate so we can monetize our streams. Fun stuff like that.
I just want the funny sounds.
That too. All right, guys. I'm going to do our outro really quick unless, Andrew, you have anything else left you want to share.
Nope.
So I'm an outro. Are we going to switch modes to anything after this?
I need to do some serious cleaning.
Gotcha. So we'll sign this off here, guys. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us. Every single one of you is amazing. Make sure to leave us your theories in the comments, share pictures of your models on Twitter and Instagram, and shoot us an email at talkabouttatooine@gmail.com if you have a question you want featured on air. Make sure to subscribe and like this video so the algorithmic overlords will slice this video into the feeds of other like-minded folk. And until next time, may the Force be with you.